Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is Refuge from Narcissism, and this refugee video is sponsored by contribution from Vincent. And Vincent sent in an audio file. It's only about 9 minutes long. So here we go.
Hi, Ollie. It's Vincent. Figured I'd give the Refuge from Narcissism community a voice to go along with the name and all the sponsorships and video topics. So, yeah, anyway, the agent reaches back out to me and wants to do an audiobook. And
This is what I mentioned. He's talking about his literary agent for a book he wrote a few years ago. So, and this is all possible, okay, because he went no contact, because he didn't get sucked in to his father's bullshit and his family's bullshit.
I signed off on that earlier this week. So they're going to have like a professional actor come in and actually do it. And going to be music and everything and professionally produced. So
That's awesome.
very big moment for me, but also was one that wound up being unexpectedly cathartic due to the way that my parents and especially my father broke me. So yeah, just to go back to you know that moment. So I know I talk about this in like the very first video I did with you, but yeah, I remember going back to the house one day to like pick up something and then completely get ambushed. So my father's like, Vincent, sit down. And yeah, I wound up like doing that. And mom is sitting there and just like texting on her phone. And then she chimes in time to time. She totally twerked him up looking at it now. But yeah, it was just.
And you still would have been listening to that Vincent if you hadn't broken away, if you hadn't stayed no contact. You would have still been hearing it right till the moment he died. And then what? Probably would have laid it on, now you got to take care of your mother.
Kind of the way it was at the moment. So really, what I remember was my father saying over and over again, "This isn't to beat you up." Which, if you think about it, the fact you have to say it is meant that it kind of is meant to beat you up.
You know, boomers always want you to think. That's the thing with boomers. Boomers always want you to think it's for your own good. Every narc wants you to think it's for your own good. That's right out of their tool bag.
And then he was like, "I have to sit there and share my car while my son is out on, you know, has to go like work over the summer and all that. And, does that really sound fair?" And you know, that was the other one. And then the third one was complaining about like how my clothes smelled. Going to the going to the laundromat and looking at it now, definitely poor hygiene is a sign of abuse. But not.
They beat you down, and this is something we talked about. That that's what you went through. Like, you're so depressed, you don't even wash your clothes. That happens, and it's a sign of abuse. Nobody wants to live like that. I don't think. Not growing up where you grew up, that's for sure.
Not tied to like autism at all, but you know, again, this was me like trying to get out of there, and then so anyway, I go and I see like this book, and it looks like it just got newly ordered on the table, and he's like, I sat there and I read this, and it helps me become like a better boss and everything. Improve my relationships with people I work with all the time. So I sat there and I get it in my head, and I've said this before in that first video, but well, wait a minute. Like, if he's actually saying that and he read a book on improving body language, then that should have applied in the conversation with me. So I try to look and I try to like cross-reference the actual stuff that's being said to his actual actions there, and I couldn't find anything that he implemented. It was exactly the same conversation that it was before. So at that point, I kind of realized that he lied, obviously, and then so anywho, I go.
Well, it was projection. Again, he's showing you this book and he's basically confessing to you, is what it was. You weren't, and you couldn't pick up on it at the time.
And I tell my grandparents, and they seem fine with it at first. But yeah, I go and I meet mom at, I think it's a Moonlight Diner in Fort Lauderdale, and go and I lay out all the evidence. And then what I remember was at the end of it, I'm like, well, if my dad, left and didn't even say like goodbye to me, I'm wondering like if he loves me. And then she was like, so just like this gasp. And, I wasn't as anywhere near as trained in the neurolinguistics as Ollie is, but I kind of got that sense even right then and there that, yeah, she put on a show. And then she went and.
Yeah, everything that boomers do is a performance. Him giving you that book is a performance, blaming you for sharing the car. It's all a performance.
She like did that low pitched voice and she was like, your father reads audiobooks. And then I think to myself, like, wait a minute, you don't read audiobooks, you listen to audiobooks. So she basically cobbled up a sentence together, which means that she's lying.
Right.
And yeah, that was that. And then sometime later, eventually it's like, you need to go and meet your father and all that kind of thing. And then I go and I do that. And then I explained, I don't think you actually read this, Dad. And then he gave off the same spiel about how he reads audiobooks again. And, looking at it now, Mom totally coached him on what to say.
Right. If it's, then why didn't you give me the audiobook? Why are you giving me, so wait, you listen to the audiobook, but you're giving me the actual book? Maybe your mother actually read the book. Or somebody told him about the book, what it was about, and he figured he could project it onto you.
For that, during that layoff. But then, like, when he ran out of stuff to say, he basically made a complete, ass of himself, for lack of better words. And then he's like sitting there and he's like, do you know how many times she's reminded me that my pants are unzipped when I leave the house? And I'm like, how many times was it? He's like, more times than I can count. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, this is meant to be taken seriously. But yeah, at that point.
And mind you, so your father can't even remember to zip his pants up. Okay? Your mother infantilizes everybody. We already know your father is cucknormous. 10 years younger than a mommy figure. Okay? And now he can't even zip his pants up because he wants to be mommied. It's all your mother. It was always your mother, Marionette and him, the entire time. Like you said, she's the one who twerks him up.
Like I was pretty much, done with that right then and there. And then that was kind of like that final crack in the plate. So really going back to present day and really thinking about it, yeah, it was tough to, maintain no contact during that moment. But I just, stuff that I knew like on a head level, I started to like come to grips with on a heart level. So like, for example, they wouldn't have made everything all about your father's illness, and you having the book they wouldn't have cared, they could have cared less. And that, and then my sister-in-law was like, had reached out to me over the phone and was like, oh, your father's sick. And then thinking to myself, like, yeah, that's not any of her business anyway.
Who cares? Who cares if he's sick at this point? It doesn't absolve his shitty behavior. I mean, that's what you're doing. You're thinking back because you said when the incident. I'm assuming you're talking about when your father dying last week or the week before. And that's hard to maintain no contact through. And then you remember this stuff, that everything about them is a performance. It wasn't real. And your mother basically marionetted him right into the goddamn coffin.
And frankly, it shouldn't be her husband's my half brothers either, like through my mom's side. And then there was that too. And then, and then it hit me that, going no contact, I was essentially had become the parent at the very end of it, and essentially
which is what they wanted. Which is what they want, because the narcs don't live forever, and somebody's got to take care of the last one. Usually the head one. It's like the head vampire, man. Last more than the coven, and that's your mother, the head vampire.
Over 5 years than probably my grandparents had done throughout much of his life at that point. And yeah, to me, like, it was that thing where, it's very, your father might be like devastated or something, but unfortunately that doesn't change the fact that consequences for your actions don't exist. And, he got surrounded by his enablers to the very bitter end on everything. And it was like, well, damn. Guess that's pretty much it. And, I, go forth into the world at this point, and I just have to kind of figure it out from there. But yeah, that's my audiobook story. And to me, the only appropriate way to tell it was with an audio recording. And, me writing a lot of stuff anyways, I figured I'd, give your vocal cords a bit of a break.
Appreciate that.
But anyway, yeah, that's like what's going on at that point. And yeah, I give Charlene my regards at the tail end of it. And yeah, like I said, she probably could have cut down the coke. Doesn't exactly help. But anywho,
that's my advice.
That's all I got to say on that. And yeah, that's my story. Bye.
I know you're going through, it's tough. I went through it when Drunky died. You got these feelings, and, should I say something? Should I have been there? And then you just remember this stuff. The reason why you went no contact in the first place. And it really is so apropos that basically the same week you moved back to Florida. Okay. And your fear of coming back, and your fear of them coming to try to break no contact. Okay, he's gone. 50% of your problem is gone, just like that. And you got to think back, and you got to realize, okay, you know what? He's right. Ollie's right. Death doesn't absolve anything. Because your parents' entire boomer life has been nothing but a performance. A performance intended to hold you back and keep you subservient and keep you thinking that there's something wrong with you. And you could see through your parents' lies like I could at a very young, at early on. It's just having the strength to build up the nerve go out and do something about it, and then sticking to it. So good job, Vinny, and good job with the audiobook and the book and everything else that's fallen into place for you. So, and I appreciate all the support you've given and the help you've given to other people on the channel, and I appreciate the audio file. So thank you. And thank you to everybody listening. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comments section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like me to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with either the Cash App, Zelle, or PayPal links in the description box, as well as my email. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Refuge from Narcissism. Take care, everyone.